Hello and welcome to Raising Dragons. And I know you're probably thinking, like, Crystal, what you talking about? You calling your kids dragons? Yes, I am. And the reason why I call it Raising Dragons is because of this one of these things. I found this by someone, it's unknown. It says dragons gift the world with courage and wisdom. And those of us who have children, especially special needs children, we know that they are very courageous. We know that kids say the darndest things, and there's always some wisdom in anything that they say, no matter what it is. And some of the characteristics that dragons have are the dominance, the ambition, the authority. You think of dragons being very scary, but they're also very mystical creatures. They're strong, energetic, imaginative, they're self-assured, and also sometimes very moody. Sorry, there's a truck going by, and I'm in the carface as usual. And one of the things that I like to talk about with kids having superpowers and why I compare them to dragons, because kids are very resilient. My son, who is autistic and nonverbal, and those who have been thrust into the world of autism, as myself with my son, he's 7 now, have seen that there are tons of changes. There are things that you've never experienced before. There are things, terminologies that you've never known before. You're doing things and they are growing, and they are doing things that the doctor said they would never do. For example, with my son, they said that my son would never walk. They said that he would never talk. They said that he would not have a quality of life. And here we are, 7 years later. He's using his own language, which I like to call the Klingon language. He is walking the way he wants to. He is moving the way he wants to. And he is super brilliant. Like, his intuition is and comprehension is off the charts when it comes to him being 7 and what they thought he would not do. And he has helped, not only just the doctors are astounded with his growth and the things that he's doing, but he's helped me as a mom. He's helped his sisters also to be courageous, to also be imaginative when it comes to communicating with him, also when it comes to communicating with others and doing things differently. Because if you are a parent of a child who has autism, they do things their own way. And we're looking like, oh, he's going to hurt himself, and he doesn't. And when we do it, because our brain is already wired to do things certain way, when we do it, we technically do hurt ourselves. Like, I cannot walk the way he walked. If I did, I would be on stilts. I would be in crutches. I would be in a chair. You would physically hurt yourself if you tried to walk like my son. And also when it comes to understanding things and comprehending things, he has helped me understand his world and what it means to live in his world. And so by doing that, I also educate others who have children who are nonverbal, children who are living on the spectrum, to communicate, to also help them with being strong and positive in the world that we live in. So by helping him, helps them, helps others. And I'm teaching his sisters to be his voice, because even though we understand what he's saying, when it comes to other people, we when it comes to other people, they technically don't understand what he's saying. So his sisters are his voice when we're out, when I'm not around. His nurses, I do have nursing for him, are his voice when he goes to school. And I find that very empowering, especially when it comes to raising a village and having a village to raise your child. And so I've created my village, and not a village of idiots, to help raise my child and also to help other villagers unite with that. One of the things that is also a touchy subject when it comes to our children who have autism is the moods that they can. My son, he can go from anywhere from being super jovial and playing with everyone to not being outgoing, not wanting to be touched. And you never know what that mood is. You know, with some kids, you can tell by the look on their face, like, hey, they're not having a good day, or hey, they're really into it. With my son, you really can't tell. You really can't tell when his moods are going to come and go. They just come like that. And just like dragons, a dragon can be flying around. If you watch Raising, How to Raise, How to Train Your Dragon, that show, or even I think there's another show with dragons, but even on mystical shows, you see dragons as very feisty and fiery and want to burn a city down. With my son, when he gets in one of them moods, he can burn the house down and can care less. And then you also have dragons that are, playful, and they are playing with other little dragons and other dragons and protecting. And my son is also very protective of me and his siblings, to the point where sometimes it gets a little, so you're like, you don't want to get him upset. You don't want to get on his bad side. You don't want to, if he puts out his hand to say, hey, you came too far, you don't want to cross that hand, because some things might happen. And he's very imaginative too. Like, he gets in his own world, especially when he has his tablet and he scrolls through, and he will come on top of these shows, and I'm like, what language is that? And it's Russian. And he loves to listen to Russian shows. If it's Russian or Mandarin, any language except for English. When it's an English language, he just, swipe, swipe, swipe. As soon as it's a different language, he sits there and he listens to the whole complete show and then find other series with it. And we're like, is he making this up in his, can he really understand Russian? Like, do I need to learn Russian to be able to communicate with my child? How about Mandarin? And on any given day, it could be a different language as long as it's not English. As soon as he hears the English language, he's like, yeah, no, no. He just turns the volume down and he just want to watch the action. So I don't know if in his head he hears them in Russian. I have no idea. But those are the things that he likes to have. When he was, I would say maybe like 2, his person became my middle child. Well, my middle child. And anytime he wanted something, he would go to her and she would let us know what it is he wanted. And we didn't know what it was, but they have this unspoken bond when they are together. And so when it comes to, if I'm not around, he knows to go to her, and then she knows to communicate with everybody else, or to tell them what it is that he wants, what it is that he needs, or, just about him, period. And I find that, as a parent, good, because, I'm not always around, I have to work. We have to, you know, manage the household. I need some alone time. I need my breaks. We all need our breaks from our dragons. But I know that if I'm not there, then that's his person that he goes to. And that helps a lot in the household. It also helps a lot throughout the day, because being a mom of dragons can be very tiring. I ain't even going to sugarcoat it. I ain't even going to hold you. It's very tiring. It's very emotionally draining. Sometimes if you have a child, sometimes he gets physical. He still can't walk as well. So I do have to carry him 50 pounds of funk. I mean, but hey, it's building up the guns. And I know you're going to say, well, why don't you get a stroller? Why don't you get a wheelchair? For me, getting him a stroller and a wheelchair will just hinder his leg mobility and his growth. And we need him to walk as much as possible so he can walk better. So getting a wheelchair, and kids, hey, he's still a child. If for me, if you give me a wheelchair and I don't have to walk, oh, put me in a wheelchair. And kids, put him in a wheelchair because he don't want to walk. And of course, the wheelchair is faster, the stroller is faster, but I opted out of that so he can walk more. Um, I would like to, at this time, plug 2 of my favorite children authors. They both have written books, children's books. You can find them online at Small House Publishing. The first one is Princess Nala by Susan Charlie. The wonderful book. She has a wonderful artist location in Philadelphia, in North Philly, but you can definitely go to her website, smallhousepublishing.com, to purchase the book, check out her shows. She's absolutely amazing. And the one thing I like about that book is that it relates to all ages, not just little kids, not just big kids. And there's a wonderful storyline behind it. I won't ruin it for you, but it is a great read, not just for your children, but also for you. And reading it to your children or just for yourself. I'm going to tell you honestly, when I got the book, I bought it for myself just because there's an inner child in me. And I also bought some for all my nieces and nephews and gave it to them too, because it's a wonderful book. And the second one is Barney the Boring Barumbus by Daryl Elliott Jr. And he is on Amazon. You can purchase that book on Amazon. Once again, I bought it for all of my nieces and nephews. It's a good, easy read too. When my 11-year-old got the book, she was like, Mom, I read this book in 5 minutes. And I was like, yeah, it's so amazing that you read the book in 5 minutes. Read it again. Now read it to your brother. And you can follow Daryl on Facebook at Daryl the Author. You can also follow Charlie on Facebook too at Susan Charlie, Charli, also on Facebook. I don't know the Instagram names, but once again, please go support them. Get your child a book, if not just for you, but for everyone has nieces, nephews, cousins, little cousins, big cousins, and also for yourself. Hey, if you're, feeling so inclined, it's a great read. I'm gonna tell you a little. If I get a little misty, don't mind me. The emotions have been pouring in. When I knew my son had superpowers, it was the day he was born. I had my son premature. It was literally a life or death situation. I was 7 months. He was 1 pound, 1 ounce. And even though throughout the whole pregnancy, the doctor said that, hey, he's not going to make it. Hey, you're going to lose the pregnancy. And I was like, yeah, that's so nice. And we just went on until the day of delivery. But my son was 1 pound, 1 ounce, 11 and a half inches long. And we went through this whole process of getting his lungs to develop. They showed me all the equipment they would need to save his life. They showed me all the equipment that he would need to breathe on his own, because technically at that age of gestation and how small he was, there really wasn't anything that they had available to help him breathe, because, there were far more children who were not surviving after that because of the lung issue. So they pumped me up full of steroids to get his lungs to grow before they did the emergency C-section. When he came out 1 pound, 1 ounce, he was breathing on his own. He did not need any medical intervention. The whole NICU was like, oh, he is a rock star. This is amazing. He did not need anything. He did not need a blood transfusion. He did not need a breathing machine. He did not need anything. He came out breathing on his own, squawking. Have you ever watched a little bird hatch from an egg and then that little squawk that they do? That was my son squawking like that when he came out. And I knew then that he had superpowers. And I knew that he would use them daily. And every day he spent 356 days in the hospital. And every day that the doctor said that he wouldn't, he did. Every day that the doctor said he would need something to help him, he wouldn't. Every day I was up there at the hospital every single day. And if you can imagine your baby fitting in the palm of your hand, like that's really, he fit in the palm of my hand. 11 inches. Even though this isn't, I don't know if this is 11 inches. Like maybe his head was here and maybe his feet were here, but 11. He was so small that even though they have clothes now for premature babies and NICU babies, he could not fit them. We had to get him doll baby clothes. And of course, there's not a whole lot of boy clothes. So we got a lot of gender neutral white things to put him in to, keep his fragile skin covered. And his actual first pamper was a Band-Aid. because that's how big he was. And I knew then that he had superpowers. And people have named him Mighty Tai. He is anointed, he is blessed by God, that is God showing favor, and he has superpowers. Everything they say he would not do, he is doing, to his comprehension, to looking around, to crawling. And every day he amazes not just myself, but his teachers, his sisters, his siblings, to include his nurses. So I would like for you can send me an email at crystalirvin.ce@gmail.com about when you knew your child had superpowers. And also your questions about raising your dragon. There are a lot of resources out here for moms and parents who are raising special needs children, especially those who are on the spectrum of autism. I got a question one time: is there a manual? Is there a book that we could read, that we can go into for reference? Because this is a lot. And, just like there's no book on parenting, I mean, there's tons of references out there as far as parenting and how to parent, but the actual book on parenting, yeah, no, not so much. A book on autism, there's books on autism, but as far as raising a child with autism, not so much, because they're all so different. That's why it's called the spectrum, because if you're on the spectrum, we definitely don't know. You're on it, we just don't know where. If you're the low end, if you're the high end, if you're in the middle, or if you're graduating over or you're graduating back down. So I've been through tons of meetings with doctors and specialists when it comes to my special dragon. And I am here as a voice for you. I am here as support for you, to let you know that you are not alone, to let you know that we can help each other, we can support each other. And I think that's the one thing that I would say as far as a book on autism, is to communicate with each other, because our kids are rock stars. They are dynamite. They are so very smart. Like, they are geniuses. And we can help each other. We can help each other. We can support each other. We can also, going through the ropes when it comes to dealing with your child, and also dealing with others, the powers that may be, the red tape behind being a child of a special needs individual, that we all need the support. We don't have to feel like we're out here alone. We don't have to feel like we're the only ones. Of course, when it's your child and your child is doing this, but other childs aren't, you do feel like, oh, this is the only one. But there's so many things that they are going through that we can share and connect and support each other with. Um, I feel as if we all come together as a united front with our children, that it will make it easier. I could be a little naive in saying that, but I feel like it does make it easier when I connect with another parent whose child is on the spectrum, whose child is nonverbal, whose child is, combative, whose child is not sleeping, whose child is sleeping, right? So we can definitely support each other in all our endeavors, and also share the resources that we have that can help another parent who is going through this world of autism that we all live in. So I would like to thank you all for tuning in. I am going to be here every Wednesday at noon, lunch break. I don't know about you, but it's always time for a lunch break. And I will be in the Carface. Maybe one day I will be at a location. Who knows? I might even come to your house and we can do this together. If you would like to be on the show with me to talk about raising your dragon, please feel free to email me. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you next Wednesday at noon.